It is amazing to see this space filled for the purpose we have this afternoon. We've been waiting a long time, it feels like, to be able to do something like this. And it has taken many partners to get here, and partners that have great vision for what can be, really thinking outside of the box. I'm Michi McLean. I'm the VP of Talent Development for Regional Opportunity Initiatives. We shorten that to ROI in hopes that ultimately we certainly can see a return on investment for the Indiana Uplands region. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit intermediary organization. That's a mouthful for those of you that don't know. We are charged with advancing economic and community prosperity for the Indiana Uplands region in 3 areas, and we do that in 3 ways, I should say. So really strengthening the sectors that have the most potential to advance this part of the state, the Indiana Uplands region, 11 counties. And those 3 key sectors, through a lot of listening and data collection and analysis, are life sciences through the medical device manufacturing concentration in this part of the state, advanced manufacturing, of course, automotive, furniture making, food processing, significant concentration as well in this part of the state, and of course, national security and defense. Why we're here, right? Really thinking about talent solutions and the potential to embrace emerging technologies and the potential for the region, and it takes talent. So second on that slide there, I think second, developing talent. A lot of it has to do with STEM, of course, across those 3 key sectors that we focus on. And enhancing placemaking, quality of place. So housing, broadband, connectivity, redevelopment of downtown areas, all of those pieces go hand in hand in our mind when it comes to what is going to attract and retain talent. So what we know to be true is that we need to think together in partnership for talent solutions, and we have a couple of those to share with you today with some of our partners. So this is the Indiana Uplands region, as I said, 11 counties. And it's this region, not because someone else defined it years ago as a region. There's workforce regions, there's all kinds of different types of regions depending on what the state entity says it is. But for these purposes, it's about that labor shed, the commuting patterns of those 3 key sectors. So here, for the defense sector and Westgate and Crane and this area, that talent is coming in and out from all parts of the 11 counties of the Indiana Uplands region. And what we need to do collectively, really, is not only design creative solutions for keeping talent here in the region and attracting new talent, but it's really understanding that it's not just about right here, it's about many wonderful communities around Crane that you probably know very well. Maybe you're from some of those. But really we have an opportunity to think about what a robust talent pipeline looks like for this part of the state. And these 2 programs that we're able to share with you today, it takes a village. They're happening because people came around the table to think together and to design together and try something. That is what this region is about. It's in our DNA. Hardworking, neighborly, innovative thinkers, makers. And so hopefully in these presentations, you'll be able to see that potential. I do want to thank Samantha and her team. Thank you, Samantha, for this opportunity, of which hopefully there will be more talent talks where collectively we can be thinking about some solutions together. So thank you, Samantha. So a little while ago, 2 thinkers approached ROI and Ivy Tech and said, what if? And so you get to hear about that what if now as a realization, and not just we're going to launch this. You know, we've tried this a few times now is what they're going to be able to share with you, and really the why behind it. So when they saw projected challenges in terms of talent and what that demand signal was, you know, you really have to be able to think proactively and try some things new and different, and that's exactly what they did. So I want to welcome up here now Dr. Walker, and then after that, I think you'll also be hearing from Josh Erline. So they're going to be talking about the background of this, the why, and then Ivy Tech will be able to share more about the details and logistics of the Logistics and Defense program. You might want to know what we're doing, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to tell you. Time will go fast. Thank you, Dr. Walker.
Thank you. But there will be a test at the end, so pay attention. How y'all doing? I'm Randall Walker. I'm Chief of Product Support out at NSWC Crane in the Special Warfare and Expeditionary Systems Department. New positions created 3 years ago to manage our product support and logistics competency. At the time, my cohort was Josh Erline. He worked over in the Spectrum Warfare Department. He left us. He now works in industry, so he's transforming our defense industry partners. My new partner is Tiffany German. You'll hear from her later. And really, what you're going to hear about was born out of a need that we had a competency that was challenged with finding resources that we need. Some people would say that our labor pool was shallow. I contended it was dry, that COVID, there must have been aliens that came down and sucked up 20,000 workers in Indiana, and they were all in the logistics competency. We found it impossible in the baby boomer retirement era to be able to hire people because nobody was responding to our call for jobs. And so we looked at Ivy Tech, the Community College of Indiana, to help us to develop a pipeline to grow our future logisticians, and that's what this is all about. And so the thing I ask you to remember as you listen to what we say is, there's going to be a lot of people that walk up here. When we started and piloted, we found people at Crane that already had government jobs that wanted to extend their education to pilot the certificate program. And then there were defense partners, commercial partners that sent some of their folks in for the second cohort. But really success for us is when Ivy Tech is able to put people into this pipeline that have nothing to do with Crane. They're just people that are growing up and getting educated in Indiana, and they're future workers, and that's how we will put water back in that stream of candidates for future jobs. And part of that is high school students. We want to take this all the way to the high schools and show a path to where a high school senior can take dual credit courses from Ivy Tech that will be 100% applicable to a DoD certificate program and an Associates of Applied Science. And then with a 2+2 partnership that Ivy Tech has, they can go to an Indiana college or university and get a 4-year degree that's very attractive to Crane, the government, and our defense industry partners to work in this career field. And if we have jobs that only require a 2-year degree, then there will be an off-ramp that says that they can go for those jobs. And we want to use that to attract our military veterans to come in and get a 2-year degree and join it as well. So really this is born of a need of, we have a strong future need to be able to do logistics. The NSWC Crane mission statement is, we deliver innovative solutions and readiness to our nation and its warfighters. Readiness says that we have systems that work, and they work when we need them, and that's what logistics is about. So when you look at this slide, the upper left-hand corner really tries to differentiate how Department of Defense is different than commercial logistics. So I think if you go into a high school and ask 20 seniors, what does logistics mean to them, they're going to talk to you about Amazon, UPS, or the post office. And a lot of people, their idea is getting something from point A to point B, and that absolutely is logistics. But for us, it's much deeper than that. We have systems that last 20 to 50 years, and we have to maintain and sustain those. So we have training requirements on how to operate and maintain it. We have maintenance requirements on how we maintain it. And we obviously have supply requirements to get the material that we need where it needs to go. So when we set this program up, we went and looked at Ivy Tech's core capability. They already had a 2-year degree in supply chain management, but it was commercial supply chain management. So they worked with us, and we went to develop 3 courses that are brand new courses that Josh and I participated in the development of, that's part of the Ivy Tech curriculum, that addresses the specific needs of the Department of Defense. So that somebody going through this class learns basic knowledge of supply chain management, but they also get a taste of the stuff that we need to care about. Contracting, colors of money, and reliability and maintainability, and how that impacts the logistics and supply chain management field to meet our needs. Bottom right-hand corner gives you an idea of the type of skills that we're looking for. We have what we call the 12 elements of integrated product support, and those are the key technical elements for logistics. But all of our logisticians work on an integrated product team, so they've got to have leadership characteristics and capability as well, so that they can go into that team environment and be able to participate effectively, and when necessary, take control and lead the group to find a solution that we need. They have to have the ability to analyze data and to visualize it. We talk about big data. We're in the Internet of Things era, and we create more data today in 3 months than we did in 10 years before. And so our logisticians have to be able to deal with that large quantity of data and be able to visualize it or to organize it so that it's easily understood by the folks that they're presenting to. Contracting. We do a lot of purchasing of material and people to do work. And so our logisticians are the technical experts for the content of that contracting. They work with our contracting officers in partnership to ensure that we ask for the right stuff in the right way so that the offerers deliver us what we need. And then the last piece is configuration management. We have thousands of systems out there, and we're changing them all the time. We've got to be able to manage the configuration of a specific system in order to understand how we're going to repair it, how we're going to operate it, and when necessary, how we upgrade it. So those are the skill areas that we look for when we talk about these stackable credentials through Ivy Tech and 4-year programs in order to create folks that come in with a high probability of success of starting a career that's going to last them their entire working lifetime at an employer that's one of the best employers in the state, or one of our critical commercial providers that are excellent places to work as well. So it's not just a Crane thing, it's a Crane ecosystem thing. It's a defense ecosystem. We have government pieces, we have contractor pieces, and they form a very desirable set of employers that people would want to go to work for. The right-hand side kind of shows you the 3 paths. So the leftmost line is the one that I explained. It's a high school student that wants to pursue a 2 or a 4-year degree, okay? So they're going to start in their senior year of high school taking dual credit classes with Ivy Tech. They'll come out of the blocks, okay? Those credits will be directly applicable to the 2-year Associates of Applied Science degree out of the business school in supply chain management. From there, they can go to a 4-year degree. The piece that we're working on now is how do we give them experience to help ground and mature that knowledge that they're acquiring. So we have opportunities for them to work with the Navy their senior year in high school. Then they can work in an internship program in the 2 years that they're with Ivy Tech. That 2-year program does not come with a commitment for a job, but it's an opportunity to gain valuable experience. And then if they go on to a 4-year program, then we'll have 2-year internships that will have a guarantee of a job at the end of that degree approach. I'm sorry? Okay. The middle lane is somebody that has a degree, but it's not in a degree that's really conducive for product support and logistics. And so they can go to Ivy Tech and get the DoD certificate as a transition means. It's a 24-hour college credit certificate program that will give them information to transition and bridge over to a logistics job, and then be able to come in and go to work for us or one of our contractors. And then the last piece is, I'm sorry, I was off. That was the right path, and the middle one is you have a 2-year degree, you can go to a 4-year degree internship while you're doing it, and it's an opportunity for us. And then the last piece is demand signal. We anticipate that between us and our industry partners that we need 20 to 40 people per year through 2030 in order to sustain the growth that we're looking at and the attrition that we have due to retirement. So I think it's a basis for a good opportunity for a lot of people from the area to be able to get educated and find a long-term job in the area that's meaningful and provides them opportunity. And so I'm going to turn it over to Josh, and he can talk to you from the defense industry perspective on the program. Thanks, Randy.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Josh Erline. I'm the Director for Tactical Aircraft Lifecycle Integration at BAE Systems, like Dr. Walker mentioned. And Michi, I used to work with Randy here at Crane, and I'm here representing the industry side. So you heard Dr. Walker talk a lot about, when he says Crane, he's talking about the organic, the government positions, okay? I want to say at the bottom of his slide, it was 25 to 40 positions per year. That's what this ecosystem needs. And that's why we created this program. And I'm going to get into the content of the slide here just briefly. And the industry partners play a larger role in the success of filling these positions in the ecosystem than on the government side. So I'm telling you that the majority of the opportunity space is with the industry partners. Okay, so the Mantex and all of the Westgate partners, CACI, I think there's a good list here that ROI can make available to you. But the purpose and vision of this program, for anyone that's ever been new in a position, especially when you don't know anything about what it is you're going to be doing, Dr. Walker and I, the purpose of it, this isn't education that you can get anywhere else outside the government. So the idea is to buy down the language and the vernacular and all these things that people are going to say to you that you have no idea where to look them up or how to find them unless Randy and I and the other instructors at Ivy Tech show you how to do it. And the idea is that you're part of something. You're part of the national defense infrastructure. We go over how the National Defense Appropriations Act is created and all of the jobs and funding that comes into the region and the difference that you can make in the job in product support and logistics. So some of the learning objectives that might look like gobbledygook to some of you to say, what is provisioning? What does that even mean? But provisioning is the ability for a warfighter, guy or girl, to requisition, order a part, and get it. So you're like, well, that doesn't sound hard. I order a bag of chips on Amazon and I get it in 2 days. We're living in the greatest times. But our customers are out on a ship or in a dangerous place. And we have to build a business that's self-contained inside the government to support and sell readiness. That's what we do. So when Dr. Walker said, logistics, it's not going from point A to point B, it's building a business and selling readiness. And let me tell you, from a guy that's done it since 1995 when I wore a uniform in the Marine Corps to 2024, incredibly fulfilling job, never had the same day twice. So in closing, the purpose of the program is, if you're thinking about going into the program, if you're 22 years old, 18, or 57 years old, you're getting a crash course on everything you need to know to show up day one to be ready to work. And I guarantee you're going to run circles around people that have been there 10 years or longer. You're going to know more, you're going to know where to look it up, and you're going to make a difference. And that's Ivy Tech and ROI's commitment to this program, is you'll be ready to go. And we put our name on it. So thanks for being here. Great to have the opportunity to talk about the program. And Adam, I think Adam from Ivy Tech is going to join us next.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're really excited to see everyone here today. We really appreciate the partnership with the industry, with the students, and with ROI, really bring everyone together. I'm Adam Gross. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Ivy Plus Career Link out of the Bloomington campus. Career Link is our industry engagement team and career coaching, bringing everyone together to connect students and industry and vice versa to make sure that we're supporting our full talent pipeline. I've got a few members of our team here. I've got Chris Carroll, Dr. Patty, and then you met Kevin and Sarah. They're around somewhere, part of my team directly to help assist today as well. So I'm going to ask Chris to get us started to kind of give an overview of the program. That's us, if you want to take a photo and remember us. But here, Chris, for some background.
Thanks, Adam. I was sick for the last week, so you're going to have to bear with me. I actually had to type up my notes. I didn't get to rehearse it as much as I would like to. But let me start off with saying how genuinely excited I am to be up here today. It was multiple years ago that we were reached out to by Dr. Walker and Josh there to start talking about how we possibly could help build this pipeline from K through 12, possibly through Ivy Tech to four-year schools and into the Crane DoD ecosystem. And I've been part of that since day one. So we've now had several cohorts complete the certification, the CT, and earn college credentials. And I'd like to take a few minutes to cover a few things here. I'm not going to cover the history so much because Josh and Dr. Walker and Michi so eloquently did that already. I'm going to just move on a little bit here and talk about a few other data points. The building of the Ivy Tech DoD Logistics CT and getting it fully accredited by the Commission for Higher Education truly was a collaborative effort. You heard ROI, DoD, the whole ecosystem of contractors, and Ivy Tech sat at the table, many meetings over many months to develop this CT. We went through the courses that Ivy Tech already had within their curriculum, like you've heard, and we found 5 of those that fit perfectly and covered content that was valuable for the students. But we identified 3 specific courses that needed developed from scratch, and you've already heard a little bit that Dr. Walker, Josh, our internal faculty all developed those courses from scratch together. And They actually not only developed it, they omitted that they also taught the classes for our students, bringing their personal knowledge and experience into those classes, making it even more valuable for our students. We are confident that CT provides content and material that well prepares our students to enter the exciting world of contracting and procurement within the DoD ecosystem. Next slide, please. Oh, I have it. Never mind. I guess I have the power. All right. While the courses in the DoD CT technically can be taken by anyone, they're open, they're CHE approved, students can take them around the state, and can take them in any order. Ivy Tech does schedule cohorts. Those are tracks for our participants who want to be either part of a group or have a consistent set of courses, days and times. The CT is built of 8 3-credit hour courses. And students take 2 courses per 8-week term. That's the same as taking 4 classes a semester, which means they are technically full-time students while they're working. We do schedule those courses consistently, Tuesdays and Thursday evenings from 6 to 9 for the 4 terms that they'll be taking it, so that way they can more easily incorporate that into their lives instead of each term it being on a different day or different time and having to make different arrangements. You can see from the slide that we have the 4 different terms. On the left, you'll see our upcoming start dates, March, June, August, October. That's the next time those courses start. And left and right, you'll see the Tuesday and Thursday evening classes that they'll take. The 3 to note are the 2 at the very bottom and the third right one, which is the Logistics 231. 232 and 233 courses. Those are the ones where they felt DoD content needed to be added, and those are our federal supply and government purchasing courses, appropriations law, and the PPB&E process, which is planning, programming, budgeting, and execution, as well as introduction to RMA, reliability, maintainability, and availability. I can tell you titles alone. It would take someone else to tell you the content in those. But again, it's exciting that those 3 courses were developed from scratch specifically for this CT and for the participants that will be going through this program. Here you will see that besides earning college credit, this is a fully college credit degree, a CT, a short-term certificate from Ivy Tech. In addition to that, we do have industry certifications built into the program, so that way that students have the opportunity to also earn some industry certs to help their resume. The project management course provides students the opportunity to earn a PM certification from Six Sigma. The supply chain management course is aligned with SC Pro's supply chain management principles certification, and students can earn the certified procurement operations specialist certification from Next Level Purchasing while they're going through this program. And last, the CT was kind of the low-hanging fruit. It was our way of getting something in place and starting getting people through that pipeline. You heard Josh say that the first cohort was mostly people inside the DoD ecosystem. I am excited to say that the logistics program has doubled in size since we've started, so we do have a lot more external as well as internal to the DoD system interest now. We're up to at least 50 students currently that are going through the program, so that might help supply that 25 to 40 range of students that they need. But the long-term goal again is that to get them through K through 12, through us, through internships, 4-year degree, so that they can go work proper for Crane proper. And you can see in the slide here a list of our 4-year partners that we already have articulation agreements with our logistics degree. Some of these you can see, I noted that the AS in logistics goes to a BS in business administration at the University of Evansville. DeVry, the same thing. But each of our degrees, I'll throw the caveat out there, we have articulation agreements with those 4-year schools, but we always encourage anyone that's interested in going to the 4-year programs to make sure they go talk to those 4-year partners first. Sometimes there's little caveats in what they want them to do at Ivy Tech before they get to that school that might dictate whether they're program ready or not. But each one of these universities and partners, as well as Western Governors University, which I don't have on there right now, all have guaranteed admission that take our full 60 credit degree, our 2-year degree, and transfer into a 4-year degree to complete at their institution. So we're well set to get people through that pipeline now. We just need it to continue to grow, and it's only going to happen through the support of all of you in this room. So thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to sit up here and see and reap some of the rewards, or at least be excited and express to you all that we're really excited about this program and its continuance. So thank you all.
All right, I'm back. Thank you, Chris. So real quick, we wanted to kind of share a little bit about the costs, although we won't go into too many details. I do have a printout over on that green tablecloth that gives everything up on the chart. What's important here is, as a community college, we do work to keep our costs low so that our classes and projects are all accessible to all industry and all students. So overall, all 8 classes would come in right around $5,600. That includes all class tuition, certification costs, books, really all-inclusive at that amount. We do anticipate our textbook costs actually to decrease over the next couple of years. We've partnered with a new vendor to help that. So that's all, the $5,600 is based on current dollar figures. If we want to walk through that in finer detail, let's meet afterwards. What's important though is these classes are financially aid eligible. And really important, we just had it added to what's called the Workforce Ready Grant eligibility. So we do have some partners from Work One that can help speak to how an industry might be willing to partner, or industry that's looking to support employees through it, how they could use those funds to support that. We do also have an Achieve Your Degree model, which is a way that we work directly with industry to support companies. So I'm really talking to industry here. Looking to sponsor your employees through this program. We have what's called Achieve Your Degree, which is a way we partner to defer tuition to the end of the semester, so that as your employees, our students, are taking the class, they're able to focus in on the coursework. And because we've deferred the tuition at the end of the semester, at the end of the semester, as long as the students have met all of your tuition assistance requirements, we bill the company directly so that the students don't ever have to pay out of pocket. They get to focus in on that classwork, be a successful student, and progress through the class, earning those that certificate and certifications along the way. So it's a really flexible partnership where the industry drives the requirements. We have an agreement we would sign. It's pretty straightforward. Happy to talk in detail, but our industry partners can determine who is eligible for the program, what eligibility looks like, and what reimbursement looks like in the long run. So it's just a great way that we partner with everyone to make sure that we support your students, your employees, focus in on those classes. So like I said, I'm around, Kevin and Sarah around as well. Be glad to chat one-on-one so we can review your tuition assistance and talk about how we can partner on this as a whole. All right. So now I'm going to invite Tiffany German up to the screen here to really review a lot of the great recruitment efforts and the additional partnerships for this. So thank you so much. Clicker's there.
Hi, I'm Tiffany German. I'm the Chief of Product Support for our Spectrum Warfare Systems Department, so Dr. Walker's counterpart. I had the privilege of presenting last week at our Connect to Mission event for my department, so any of you who heard about today and decided to come, I just want to thank you all for attending. And I want to highlight some of the ways that we develop our talent and some of the programs that we utilize that are both paid and non-paid opportunities for us to kind of develop our government organic workforce. So the first one, first section is programs that apply to collegiate internships. So we use the Pathways program. That's kind of our traditional internship program. That's how I came into Crane 16 years ago. That's a program for people that are enrolled in college currently. They're taking classes, and once they graduate, then they would transition to a government employee at Crane as an entry-level employee. Then our newest program is the Defense Civilian Training Corps. So think of this as the ROTC for civilians. So did a little bit of research on it to be able to speak to it today. It was a congressionally mandated program to be put into place to help really capture those gaps that we have in our defense acquisition workforce. So we have a lot of capability and just capacity gaps. So they wanted to create a program that would allow us to partner with universities, Purdue being one of them, one of the pilot universities for this year, 4 in the United States and 1 is in our state. So that's pretty awesome. So we are able to, as a defensive Department of the Navy organization, provide proposals to those universities, and then they can bring in a cohort of individuals that execute that project for an internship. So we're just starting to get involved in that program. We're going to kick it off this summer, have some interns come and do a project-based cohort here at Crane. And then those individuals, their tuition's paid for, their books are paid for, and they have a service agreement that they sign with the government to be able to come to Crane or an organization long term. Our Naval Acquisition Development Program, we've probably been using this for like 10 to 15 years at Crane. We use it for several of our job series. For product support and logistics this year, as an example, we got to hire 7 people. And those are individuals that already have a degree, either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, sorry. And it's a journeyman level expedited program. You're gonna hear from some people that are in that program today, Ms. Rebecca Fellers. Our high school internships. So this is what we're really trying to promote today. I'm not going to talk too much to the UpSkill Work and Learn apprenticeship because we have a whole section today dedicated to that. But for our high school seniors, they are folks that come out here to Westgate for 2 hours every day, Monday through Thursday, and they work with our STEM coordinator and others to get exposure to Crane, and it's a non-paid opportunity for them to just understand what opportunities exist here at Crane. And then our science and engineering apprenticeship program, we utilize that in the summer to bring in those non-life cycle logisticians, but people that are critical to our product support competency, such as our data scientists, our mathematicians, and folks. And we bring them in for about 8 weeks, and they have the opportunity to kind of get baptized by fire, we'll say, and understand the importance to design supportable weapon systems for the fleet. So next slide. Okay, so our recruiting efforts. We have been working since about November timeframe on a recruitment video, which I'm happy to premiere today. So it's going to be the next slide. This is the video that we want to be able to send out to our high school students who may have an interest in understanding what is product support and logistics and how is it different within the Department of Defense. Really need some feedback on this video. We're old. We don't know what high school students like. I have a 17-year-old son. I can't relate to him. So any feedback that you all have and how we can best capture this audience and every other audience that we need to capture in different mechanisms, we're looking for that. So I put my email in the slide deck. Feel free to reach out to me directly after today. And we're going to launch into the video. Hopefully. Do I have to hit a button on here? Or? Oh, okay. Oh, crap. Go back. Oh, okay. See, I can't even work this, let alone TikTok.
So I started in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years in the logistics field. Afterwards, I got out with school at IU, and when it came time to graduate, I realized that I enjoyed the work that I was doing in the Marine Corps, and I wanted to continue that.
When you work product support logistics in the DoD, you are getting to touch everything that will support that system in the long run.
The better we do, the safer our men and women in the armed forces are. Capabilities demonstrated in the video you just watched couldn't be performed without a discipline called product support logistics. Now you may think about logistics and think about UPS, FedEx, or the United States Postal Service, but getting goods to where they need to be is only one area of about 12 key areas that product support logistics focuses on.
There's documentation that has to go with it, all the tech data, the drawings, so you know everything that is in that system, in that current configuration of that system, and from there you do maintenance. You have to do all your maintenance planning, what levels of maintenance. You have to get people trained. You have to make sure that training is in place so that they can, the new system, the sailors can get trained before they actually are, going to operate or maintain it. And then all the equipment that has to be used to maintain that system, the support equipment, which has its own logistics trail. So it's much more than, hey, I gotta get this shipment from this building, over to California or whatever in 3 days. No, that's.
I think it's very fulfilling because, like I said, I remember being in their position, and being able to support them and but whenever they're out there doing the hard work, we're in an office just, living the good life, but somebody's out there using the systems that we're reading about on our computer screen, right? So it's real life. So I think that at the end of the day, it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the people that work here too, that we're actually making a difference in the life of the service member somewhere in the world.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we're going to have our panelists join us. We have Andrew Hyland from NSWC Crane as a product support branch manager. We have Lindsay Walls, who's from CACI. She is a project manager. We have Rebecca Fellers from NSWC Crane, from Naval Acquisition Development Program intern that we just learned about. And then Jason Rosso from NSLC, our systems analyst. So if you could all join us. So we're going to learn about some of the real life things that have gone on as the folks here have worked through their logistics program and talk from an employer's perspective and from the student perspective. So I have a few questions. I would first like to ask Andrew and Lindsay, as employers, what were some of the challenges that you faced in recruiting into the area of defense logistics here in this region?
Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. So Andrew Highland, NSWC Crane. So coming from the government perspective, as Dr. Walker and Josh Erline and a couple other people have talked about, a bit of the challenge can be the awareness of what it is that we do. So as they've have talked about, logistics in the commercial world is a little bit different than what we do. It's a lot of a broader field. So that's kind of the first challenge. Next is having folks with the skill sets that we're looking for. So that's always a difficult thing. And then really competition. So we're competing with our commercial partners, we're competing with outside industry, we're competing with people across the country. So being here in southern Indiana, it's some people are looking to get out, other people are wanting to stay. So really the competition with others. Anytime I find somebody that I'm interested in pursuing, it's always kind of a race to get it closed. So yeah, thank you.
Great. Lindsay, how about you? What kind of challenges does CACI see there?
It goes along with the same thing he was saying. The location here at Crane obviously makes it difficult to find qualified applicants. And then as well as just the misunderstanding of what logistics is beyond supply chain management. When people think of that, that's where it ends usually. So.
Right. So we heard this going along as we were developing this. So this video that Tiffany and her team have put together, we're hoping we'll get some good feedback from you all about how that applies to 17, 18-year-olds and help us to make that the best it can be, right, to encourage them. Rebecca works for Andrew. And we would like to ask Rebecca, what skills do you have from your previous career? Because you have an interesting background that's useful in the logistics area. And then can you share us a little bit about your career path?
Yeah, I'll start with my career path first. So I went to the University of Evansville, double majored in music, so music therapy and vocal performance. So I worked as a music therapist for 3.5 years in Bloomington with special needs, which was awesome. And then I heard about this program, and I was like, wow, this sounds like a wonderful opportunity, and I was open to different career fields, and so I started this program. And then I briefly worked in HR at Crane, and then now I'm in the Naval Acquisition Development Program under Andrew. So so skills, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind, documentation, because when you're working in a therapy field and also in HR, you're gonna have like a ton of documentation and with sensitive information. So I mean, obviously we have sensitive information in the DoD, so just managing the documentation, organizing it, keeping it, so I mean, really documenting things well. That's one thing that comes to mind. And then planning. So in our classes, Josh talked a lot about, logistics is like wedding planning. You're going to plan for a big event, plan for that one big thing, and make sure all the moving pieces are together. And with session planning in my therapy field, you had a ton of planning in that as well. So those are the two that come to mind right now.
Great, thank you. Andrea and Lindsay, do you have a demand for these positions?
Yeah, so as everybody's alluded to, some of the demographic shifts and work we need to do to support the defense industry, there's clearly a demand both on the government side and with our commercial partners. So traditionally, I would say our contractor support has been seen as a supplement to what we do, and moving forward, it has to be really a key piece and a counterpart to what we're doing to be successful going forward. So there's definitely a lot of demand moving forward.
Great. Khaki
Agreed.
too?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Same answer. Jason, can we pass the mic down to Jason for a minute? What has been your career path and what position are you in now? You have some interesting paths to get to where you're at.
Yeah, I'm a 20-year retired Navy veteran. I was in the submarine service, so we were our own little Navy is what we thought. I retired from the Navy in 2010. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, so I went to Ivy Tech for about a year, and then I decided I better go to work. So I went to work for a couple of years in restaurants. I was a cook. That didn't work out so much. It was too much work. So I found myself back into to Ivy Tech here recently, and I stumbled across the certificate program, and it lined up with the supply chain management program that I was already started in. The classes almost mirrored each other with the exception of the core courses, so I decided I'd do them both at the same time. Right now I'm a supply systems analyst at NSWC Crane. We provide storage and material movement for, I would probably say, 95% of the base. So I've got a lot of background in more from a material management, storage, preservation, and movement of it right now. So this program's going to give me a little bit more opportunities. That's what I'm looking for.
Great, great. I'd like to stay down here with our two students. And how about Rebecca first? Can you tell us a little bit about how you balance work and taking classes, the accelerated program, 2 courses, 2 nights a week, 8 weeks, pretty heavy, right?
Yeah, so I mean, right off the bat, as we saw in the slide, the courses are 6 to 9 on 2 evenings, so that's right there, a nice block of time set aside. So really, I just try to focus on my personal time management. The classes are really manageable. The coursework it's intense, but it's manageable. So I mean, just setting aside that time for that work-life balance, and yeah.
Okay. And Jason, how about you?
Yeah, pretty much kind of what Rebecca was saying. I was sold on it. I thought, oh man, I got to take 4 classes at a time, 4 assignments a week, 16 weeks. I got to be a full-time student, and then realize, wait a minute, this is broken up into 8-week courses. So taking 2 classes, 8 weeks, it's manageable. The benefit of this particular course is the thoroughness of the instructors so far of getting you the material so you can digest it in a way to where you can actually understand what they're trying to get across to you, right? They're professionals in what they do, and it shows in the way they present it to you. If you don't know anything about it, you're going to know something about it because they're going to articulate it to you in a way that you'll be able to digest it the right way. So that's been a big thing for me. Otherwise, I don't think I would have gotten back into college if I didn't have the 8-week course option. So that's worked out real well for myself.
Okay. And again, staying down here for a couple more questions. How did you see your support that you received from Ivy Tech or your instructors or your peers? And I think there might be a story in there somewhere with one of you.
Yeah, so one thing I will, and I'll lead with this. If you get into the program, connect with your fellow classmates, whether you never see them in person or not. Rebecca and I have had, 3 or 4 classes now together, and this is the first time we've ever seen each other in person. But I think that we've known each other for years, it feels like. Just because we shared our thoughts and our issues and our problems and stuff that we were struggling with in the classes with each other to work through it. And we do have a kind of a little funny story that there's 4 of us, Rebecca, myself, Michaela, and Levi. I think we had 3 classes together. So we got to know each other, and we were in class, had Josh, and I think we had a holiday, and our schedule got a little skewed in one way, and somebody maybe wasn't sure what was due which week, and we thought it was something else. Anyway, what ended up coming out of that was the fact, I think somebody brought up the point of, hey, let's work on this final project as a team project instead of an individual project for each of us. And I think a light went on over Josh's head, and he said, wait a minute, that's real life. You know, that's what you're going to do at the office. That's what you're going to do with your team. You know, when you're at Crane or wherever you're working in this field, you're all going to get together. You're going to put your heads together. You're going to bring all your pieces to the table. So that's what the four of us did. I won't tell you where she was, but she wasn't in Indiana. She was in Michigan. Michaela was in Montana that final week. Levi was in Santa Claus, and the one time he was on a golf cart. He had his kid was crying or something. He was driving it around. But we all worked together on this project. We all gave the same amount of effort. And it was something that I don't know if Josh is going to carry that on in the future, but he thought he was going to give it some thought that, you know, this is how it's going to be when you're out there. This is how you are going to work with each other. So that was pretty fun, and we had a great time and learned a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, I will say really lean into the support with the group, and really, you know, for me, I felt I was coming into this completely brand new. I didn't have experience with DoD, so it was really cool that I could, you know, be in a setting where I can just ask those questions and feel comfortable, like really getting out there, putting myself out there, and asking those questions and learning more about this field, and going off of the story. I will say, like I said, leading to that support, because I was on my way to Michigan, sitting in the back of the car, making phone calls, like, okay, we got to work on this. We got to, while my friends are driving, I'm going to work on this, you know, document. And so a lot of collaboration, a lot of support.
Yeah, that's just so encouraging to think about as building our military folks in that way, right? In that teamwork environment. Let's go to the employers for one last question with employers, and then I'll give you a chance to give a student some advice real quick. So why does your company support employees taking this certificate program? What's in it for them? What's in it for you? And what's your ideas about the value of this for the ecosystem here?
Well, it definitely adds value to our employees, to our company, and to the customer. I mean, it makes, you know, we want to create a pool for Crane. So, I mean, it all just kind of talks together there. It's basically...
Yeah. Yeah, and you were going to have another student here on board with us, but him and his wife decided to have their baby last week,
Yeah,
right?
so
Austin. So
yeah.
we're excited for them.
Yes.
So he's doing great work too.
Yes.
For you.
And just to speak of him, like whenever you were talking about, you know, entry level, like he was an entry level applicant, and he jumped right on board with this certificate, and it's going to take him very far.
Great. Yeah. Andrew, do you have a comment there real quick?
Yeah. So for me, it's relevance is one of the reasons I'm a big supporter of this program. So just a couple quick examples. So when they were developing their curriculum for some of the courses, I remember meeting with Josh and going over course content and thinking about what kind of things, you know, what would you want people to know coming in brand new? So it's really relevant to what we do on a day-to-day basis. Also, another example is you know, working with people in the class, and as we're going through mentoring sessions, you know, there are ties between what we're doing, what we're seeing, and their coursework. So that's it's really cool to see. As far as you know, I think of their development as a puzzle, and as you go along and gain experience, you put pieces into that puzzle, and with this program, you have you come in with some puzzle pieces in place. So that's you know, a good thing to see. As far as the ecosystem, you know, there's no line item in the federal budget that Crane exists and all of its thousands of employees. So everything we do is based on, you know, our support for the warfighter. So a little part of this, you know, improving the support we provide ensures that you know, we're here for years to come. And I think a lot of the effort that Crane's put forward into the region within Indiana, and I think this is just another piece of that. So it's good to see.
Great. And I will just close with, we had interviews with our panelists to get ready, and the thing that came out for advice was that you get what you put into the program, right? For any high school student or people in the community or in the workforce that is going to join this. And then two big themes came out. It's a great way to serve your country, right? And it's a great way to support the warfighters. So with that, we'd like to thank our panelists for being here today. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. You guys can head on down. Thank you. Want to invite Michi McLean back up to the podium to speak and to start a discussion around our UpSkill program.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, panelists. One thing that Andrew, you didn't say that wherever you went. Jason, you said to me before this event, you said opportunities, and that stuck with me. So you never know where a door is going to open and where taking something on can lead to even more than what you imagined it could. So call to action really is for you through both of these programs. What can you commit to? Can you commit to telling somebody about this? Can you commit to talking to your employer about doing more of it? If you're a school district, can you think about those seniors who might be a really good match for something like this? So it's my pleasure to also talk to you about the UpSkill Work and Learn program, also called Modern Youth Apprenticeship. And this term, rethinking talent, really comes from this idea of starting earlier. We know that the state of Indiana is really good at attracting talent to the high quality, great reputation universities that we have in the state of Indiana, top 10 of the 50 states. We rank 42nd in retaining them. So that means that we have this untapped opportunity, right, to keep them here. We also know from that maybe if we can start earlier and connect talent to industry and employers and build some really good relationships, hopefully those young people can see themselves with a company and see where their strengths are and how they can contribute to the overall success of that company. So that's where UpSkill Modern Youth Apprenticeship idea was formed. Years ago, 2017, we started talking about what does high quality mean for the Indiana uplands? How do we start retaining more talent and developing that talent earlier? Well, it's a Modern Youth Apprenticeship model. And with that comes, we've had an opportunity to work alongside the state of Indiana, other states, Colorado, South Carolina, learned from New York. We learned from the Switzerland model, the Swiss model for their apprenticeship model that they've had for generations, right? So that's the norm for them. There is an apprenticeship program here too. This is different than what the general public thinks of a traditional registered apprenticeship. We're really coining that term modern with this to think about how can you build out more opportunities for long-term experiences and starting earlier while students are still in high school. So high quality, we're really thinking about those high wage, high demand career opportunities and what at the end of a 2 or 3 year experience with an employer, what equates to talent being able to really realize I can make a living. I can sustain a family if I want to have a family. I have a livable wage for myself and a family. So really thinking in terms of where you start in year one, maybe as a junior in high school, and then building those skills as a senior, and then staying on even in a third year in what we call an options multiplier. So you as a student might decide, I'm going to go to post-secondary education. I want to be an engineer. I didn't know that when I started with this position, but now I know I want to be an engineer. So I'm going to go to college, and I'm also going to stay with my employer when I come home from breaks. You know, it is that connection. So we often talk about that bridge, that seamless bridge from high school into a student's next steps in life, that they feel and understand and really can tangibly have on a resume what their experiences are and what certifications they have gained as a result of a 2 to 3 year experience in something like a modern youth apprenticeship program. There's a little bit of a shift in thinking also in terms of this idea of in high school, you have an internship class. I have a box I need to check as a student to make sure I get this internship done. This is different. This is employers being at the table and really being co-producers of that talent. So this is us as an intermediary providing some safety nets and supports to schools and the employer to help make this happen long term. So resume building, mock interviews, the employer ultimately is hiring an employee. And that is on them. We just try and do everything we can to get them ready and up to that point where it's going to be a really successful interview. Working with the schools is a big part of this. Counselors have a full plate. So as much as we can do to take things off of their plate and help a student find success in a placement, we really want to do this. So it's not about checking a box for a course. It's about students making decisions for their future. This is for my future. I need to take it seriously. It's a big commitment, and how to balance all of those things while they're also still very much 17 and 18. So it is a little bit different than an internship. We think of it as a continuum. So you think of job shadow, maybe an industry tour that you get to go with your engineering class to a work site. This is kind of at the end of the continuum where you think of intense long-term relationship with an employer where you're truly learning from them day to day and learning at the same time for those related courses in the school or even what your employer is able to provide you with. And so we want it to be clear that there are still internships that are valuable. They certainly have a great place in the continuum of work-based learning. This is a significant commitment in terms of being a modern youth apprenticeship. It is always paid. There's always related instruction. You can get dual credit. A lot of it for us comes through Ivy Tech or maybe VU. And then industry credentials. So we are listening to those employer partners saying, what's important to you in terms of that industry valued credential that we want to help along the way while that student is working for you if you aren't already doing that. And there's no better way than to hear it from themselves. Here we go.
I'm Ethan Zer, and I'm a junior at Edgewood High School.
I'm Sophie McDuffie. I'm a senior at Bedford North Lawrence High School.
My name is Ashton Moore. I go to Edgewood High School, and I'm a senior there.
Hi, my name is Italy Lewis, and I'm a senior at Bedford North Lawrence High School.
My name is Max Todd. I am a junior, and I go to B&L High School.
I'm Nate Bowles. I'm a junior at Mitchell High School.
I work at Even Automation as an engineering technician, and I'm here working with robots and control panels and putting together mechanical drawings. I first heard about UpSkill in my engineering class. It's, on-the-job experience for a lot of stuff that, I was very interested in.
I work at German American Bank. I just really enjoy working here. All my coworkers are really nice. The hours are perfect for me. So UpSkills provided me a lot more experience I couldn't get inside the classroom. I definitely feel like I've grown ever since I've started working here. I've handled my money a lot better.
I work at SAIC as an engineer tech intern. I really like it here. I participate in UpSkill because I really wanted to get real life work experience before I graduated high school. Engineering wasn't in my horizon at all, and watching all these people do this stuff and show me how it works and learning about it has made me think, well, maybe I want to look into engineering in college.
At the North Lawrence Career Center, I take this class called Precision Machining, and before UpSkill, I didn't know about Texicon or anything related to it, so that really helped me open up the field of possible careers I could have.
I have fun at work. My coworkers are so kind and helpful. I've always had a want to work, and giving back to my country, I've always wanted to, ever since I was little, and this is my way to do that. It's given me opportunities beyond high school through Crane. I plan to work out there.
Ever since I've been working here, I realized
path, like in a good way. I didn't know what I wanted to do before, joining this.
It really opens your perspective to what careers are out there. I also learn a lot of skills like communication or like how to ask questions, and it just makes me overall more confident about the future.
It's refreshing to be in here every day and, learn something new on the job every day. I'm learning things here that I probably wouldn't have learned in school. It's very eye-opening to see how it works in the real world with people. I'm working with people who have jobs in these industries and who understand the skills you need after you graduate.
The UpSkill team was able to help me build my resume. From there, I could apply to a few jobs and ultimately ended up leading to an interview where I got hired on at SAIC. SAIC is a defense contracting company where we build things to support the military. Recently, I've been working upstairs on 3D modeling programs called SolidWorks. I've always known that I've wanted to go to Purdue after high school, and having this internship through UpSkill has really looked good on college applications, and I was able to get into Purdue.
I believe that UpSkill has put me ahead of where I would have been without it.
Getting that experience is comforting in what you want to do after high school.
Okay, so really time and time again, just blown away by what the employers have to share, their willingness to really be that co-producer of talent. We have some of them here with us today, and they truly are really shaping that future for not only their own company, but also the students. So this gives you a snapshot of some of the employer partners that we have on board for the UpSkill program, and our internal team for UpSkill, Renee and Jen and Kim, are working diligently every day with these partners, including our school partners, to troubleshoot and to see where we can improve the program. So quickly, this is just a sample of that progression I spoke of for the 3 years. So in that year one, those hours might be 10 to 15 hours. And then it gradually increases as the student gets older and more mature into the program. And then it gives you an idea of wage. That's never been an issue for us in the Indiana Uplands region. I mean, there's a lot of need for talent, and to our satisfaction, of course, it's really this idea of being a part of something new and something different. I think you heard in the video some of the examples of the different types of positions so far for UpSkill, but we really are finding now that we're recruiting, the UpSkill team is out in schools all the time, and we are finding that there might be more students than we actually have those positions for. So it's pretty competitive, and so if there are employers out there that want to learn more from other employers, and I think you'll learn more from the panel or even from us, that call to action as well is please reach out, and we're happy to answer any of those questions and also connect you with anybody that can help understand the program better. So with that, we have a youth apprentice panel, right, Jen? I'm going to invite Jen Staub up here. Jen is ROI's Career Connection Specialist, and is just part of that team that every day has this amazing, you just can't quantify, right, how much is being developed and learned in those experiences. So hopefully you'll get a feel for that through this panel. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Michi. Hi, so happy to be here today, but more importantly, I'm happy to bring our guest up onto the stage. I'd like to start with Stacy Martin. Come on up, Program Manager at SAIC, followed by Matt Thompson, Program Manager at Rel Micro. Then followed by 3 of our students, I have Garrett McDuffie, who's a junior at North Lawrence and a first-year UpSkill student at SAIC. Then I have Madison Simmerman, who is a junior at North Lawrence Career Center. She's also in her first year at UpSkill, and she's working at PRD. And then I have Ethan Scott, who graduated last year from North Lawrence. He's now a freshman at IU Luddy School of Computer Science. He's in his second year of the UpSkill program, and he's still working with his company 5 Star Technologies and the North Lawrence school system. So welcome, panelists. And I think we have some microphones. Good. The first couple questions will be for the employers. So Stacy, I'll start with you. Since you've been doing this now for 2 years and probably have dealt with most of the issues, especially in the area of national security and defense contracting. So first of all, what value has the UpSkill students brought to your company?
I think first,
Maybe not.
Public speaking is not my forte, sorry. So when we started this program last year, there was a lot of, I want to say, apprehension over, how we were going to show our government customer in Crane the value that bringing these high school students in and developing this young talent and what it was going to show. And what we have found is the skills that they have through their engineering classes, some of them is equivalent to some of the second-year drafters that we have hired. So they've actually truly filled an engineering gap that we have had.
Great. Matt?
Yeah, I'd say the value is long-term for us, right? Being a microelectronics company, what we really need are electrical engineers, right? We need people with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees in that specific field. And long-term, being able to draw back and talk to those students and say, hey, you're already from the area, we already got that relationship, and just being able to go in and develop those relationships early because we are a small company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the team of people to go out and do recruiting. Usually it's me and one other person. So
It really is growing your own right here.
Yeah, it is. It's growing our own, growing them local, and showing them that, hey, these careers are here, and they're here where you grew up. You don't have to go to San Francisco. You don't have to go to Huntsville or DC or something like that to be in this field. You can do that, and you can stay here and still make good money doing it.
That's a great point. Stacy, this one will be just for you, since Matt just hired his first student in just this year. Stacy's been at it now for a couple of years. So Stacy, can you talk about the challenges you had to overcome, particularly around DoD issues?
So we internally, SAIC being a large corporation, they were a little bit apprehensive about, hiring minors for the first time and making sure that we were being compliant with all state and federal guidelines as far as the minors. And then obviously risk as far as if we ever had any workplace injuries and what that impact would be and what that would look like. And then obviously most of our contracts do require a security clearance, and what did that look like to obtain a security clearance for minors? Mm-hmm. And then obviously to get our contracting officers for our service contracts on board, with also, bringing these kids in part-time. And we just really knocked them out one at a time. And really what we found out is really outside of the minor state, there's some things that you have to do with registering with the state when you're hiring minors. Everything else, we treated them just like all other employees. So we basically just knocked one door down at a time, and we've had zero issues.
That's great. That is great. I'm going to actually turn it to the students next, so if you want to pass the mics that way. And we can just start with Garrett. The first question that I'd like each of you to answer is describe what you currently are doing, like where you work, and kind of generally a few things that you do during the day, like a part of your job.
So I work at SAIC, and I do a lot of CAD and checking drafts and stuff for other engineers around where I work.
Great. Maddie?
So I shadow our mechanical engineer, and I do a lot of work in CAD. I've helped design some fixtures for our company. So yeah, I just get a lot of experience in CAD.
Great. Ethan?
So I work at Lincoln Elementary as a IT technician, and I essentially just answer any tickets that the teachers put in for help, and I do a lot of repairs on like laptops and stuff, and just maintain the IT space in the school.
Okay, so Ethan, I can start with you for the next one, and then we can move the mic back down the other way. What made you decide to apply to the program? I came to the schools for you, Ethan, 2 years ago, and for Maddie and Garrett just a year ago, did a general presentation to a large group of students, and somehow you guys managed to sign up and get through the whole process. But what made you stick your neck out and decide this is something you wanted to try?
So the principal of the school came up to me personally and told me about the UpSkill. And I already knew I wanted to do something with IT, so I just saw UpSkill as a way to go ahead and get started in that field. So it didn't really take too much convincing for me to get on board.
And you started as a senior, since the program is relatively new. This is just, Ethan's in our first cohort, and Maddie and Garrett are in our second cohort. And we're out recruiting right now for our third cohort. But for you, you were able to get a direct admit to the Luddy School, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is awesome. And he's able to juggle both, going to IU and being the IT coordinator for Lincoln Elementary. So Maddie, what made you decide to apply?
So I've had an interest in engineering for a couple of years, and so what made me decide to apply for the program was the opportunities it offered, like gaining experience and knowledge in that career that I wanted to pursue. So.
Oh, good. Okay, Garrett?
I'd always known I really wanted to do engineering, and I figured that this would look really good on college applications, and it's also nice to not have to worry about like a food industry job or something that I'd have to work otherwise.
Good point, good point. So this one's just for Ethan, since you're the one who's made the transition from high school to college. How has this helped you in college?
I think it helped me manage my time between work and schoolwork. I kind of have a better idea of when to work on smaller projects and when to set aside time for larger projects. And as it was mentioned in the video earlier, it actually looks good on college resumes, and I think that really helped me get into IU at the time.
Mm-hmm. And in your actual classes, do you feel like you're a little bit a step ahead of your classmates?
Yeah, I feel like I have a little more experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Now I'm going to come back over to Matt. So slide the mic down. So since you're kind of the new employer on the block, what challenges have you had in kind of starting up with the program?
Basically everything that was mentioned earlier, as far as just getting over that apprehension, right? You know, can I even hire a high school student to come in and work, right? I mentioned earlier, we're a small business. We don't have a lot of overhead that we can draw from to pay for this person. So chances are I'm gonna have to put him or her on a government contract and charge time to a contract somewhere. Mm-hmm. So am I even allowed to do this? You know, what are the security requirements? What's the risk associated with that? And just kind of getting through that stigma, and then, you know, just tackling it one thing at a time, and eventually you realize, oh, I can actually do this. So we can do it, and actually a lot of our sponsors, government sponsors, are interested in what we're doing, and you know, not that they're involved or endorsing us in any way, but you know, they always want to know, hey, what's going on with that one kid?
That's good. Spread the word, Matt. Spread the word.
He's still doing well. So you know, there's some interest there.
As Michi said, we have far more students interested than we have positions, so
right.
Spread the word. That's good. That's good.
So yeah, just getting through those initial roadblocks, and realizing that yes, we can actually do that. And you know, there's a few caveats here or there, but for the most part, we can bring them on, and we can make them apprentices and start doing that, you know, real life experience.
So in our final few minutes, I just have one question for each of you. So for the employers, it's what advice would you give other employers, especially DoD? And then for our students, kind of what's the next steps, or what's your next goals? Go ahead, Stacey.
As far as from an employer standpoint, I just want to say, just do it. We were so concerned. We talked about it for a couple of months and all the obstacles. And then once we just kind of bulldozed through it, and it really wasn't any different than hiring any adults. So, and it's been an enormous, I think, value added. I think it has also been a morale booster at our place of work, showing that we are investing in the community and stuff. And I think that they've really enjoyed even giving them a little bit of some diverse experience, being able to mentor some of them as well.
I remember the meeting, Stacy, that we had to overcome the corporate office, HR. And Kim and I were on the Zoom call with you, and we had no idea how it was going over. And at the end, somebody from the corporate office said, "I want this for my kid." And we knew we had it. Matt.
Ditto. So everything she just said. But I think what's really added to the office is I think a lot of our engineers enjoy that teaching and training and having that high school student in there where they can feel like they're giving back to someone as well. So it goes back to the morale thing. It's just good stuff. It improves morale. They enjoy passing on the torch, if you will, and trying to convince a young high school student that he doesn't need to do CS. He needs to go be a double E major somewhere. So.
Got it. Good. All right, Garrett. So what's next? What's your plans for the future? You're next.
So
I know you're a junior now, so you've got
yeah.
a little.
I mean, I haven't started applying to colleges yet, but I am looking at Purdue and maybe doing mechanical or aerospace engineering and see what happens from there.
Good. Maddie?
So my next step is to obviously graduate high school and then go to college. I've been looking at going to Purdue University. I haven't decided the field of engineering I want to go into, but I've been thinking about electrical engineering. So.
Awesome. Okay, Ethan?
My next step would obviously be to get my degree. I'm working for a bachelor's in computer science, but I'm also hoping to get some of my CompTIA certifications done. I'm currently working on my A+ certification, which UpSkill has also helped me get a hold of.
So great. I want to thank our panel. I think our time is officially up, so everyone give them a round of applause. Do you want them to stay up? Do you want them to stay up for questions? Panelists, can you stay up in case there's any questions?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to keep this panel up here and also maybe some of our other panelists that were here just earlier and open the room up for Q&A from the audience for any reason. And our Vanna White, Adam Gross, is going to take one of the microphones and walk that around to the room. If anyone has a question in general about UpSkill or to any of our panelists or even the logistics program. Anything just burning? Have you all taken public speaking? Right? Okay. Defense, say that again. Defense Civilian Training Corps. Awesome. Theron, did you have a comment you want to say from a recruiting standpoint, maybe?
With the risk of making my industry partners upset there, you three up there, I've got a business card for you. You can come see me afterwards.
So let's raise the tide and not steal from each other. What do we think? Let's add more people to the program, right?
Yeah. So I'll just tell you from a recruiting perspective, I'm a recruiter with the Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane. Primarily business and journey level recruiters, but this is always exciting to me because I have a difficult job. I love my job. I have to tell people I'm not Colonel Sanders, and I get a chance to go out and talk to people and tell them all about the great things we're doing down here, not only with our contracting partners, but also with NSWC Crane and some of the others that are aboard Crane. So I've got a great job. I get to deliver that message. It's exciting for me. Randy Walker, I think, hit it on the head earlier, though. I tell you, it is difficult to find the right people for the right jobs at time. And so when I see programs like this where we're starting to develop our youth around the area to become our future employees, it's very exciting for me because I'm able to target them then and really kind of pay attention to them from high school all the way up. And it's a great program, to be able to do that, because otherwise I'm going to schools and I have no idea what these kids are doing. I find a degree, a GPA, whatever, maybe they're great candidates. But programs like this certainly create, as he put out, that pipeline that's going to help us fill some of those dried up rivers and really boost our performance from here on. So again, I got a card for you guys. Anybody else that wants one, I've got one. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I talk to anybody. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I would like to ask our parents of our students that are here today to stand up. Thank you for coming today. And you all should thank your parents for supporting you through this, right? Thank you very much for being here. And then Robin, I think, was Earl here too? No? Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted you to stand up, and did Earl leave, or was he here? Oh, okay. Robin's here to share with you about the employer training grants. So if you happen to be an employer in the room and you're interested in how can I support my employees going through this program, Robin is here and she can help direct and guide you into that. Yeah, so that's out on the website and she can help you work through that. Okay, thank you. And then Samantha, I'm thinking we're about ready to close. Would you like to come up and talk a bit about how we started this Tech Park Talent Talk? You all are in the inaugural cohort of the programming for this new program we're doing.
Thank you, Kim. My name is Samantha Nelson, and I am the program manager for here Purdue at Westgate. So we actually manage the facility here. So what's exciting is that I see so many people out here that I don't recognize. That I mean, has there been a lot that's not been here for the first time? No? You guys have been here for a long time? People have been here? I don't recognize a lot of you, sorry. I don't know. We have a lot of events here, But one of the things that we did talk about, Kim came, we were in the lobby one day, and we're always looking to put connections together, to put people together, to put resources together. And obviously, if you've heard of the microelectronics initiatives that are happening here, and if you haven't, you can see all the construction behind the building here and around. There's going to be a huge facility. Employers are obviously going to need all kinds of people within the next 5 years. So that's what this is all about, trying to make sure that we have the right pipeline of people in order to keep the employers happy and to keep the economy going and to make this area as vibrant. I just want to also let you know that you're sitting in a certified tech park. So you may not know this, but there are 60 plus defense contractors that are within this area, and there's over 800 plus employees that are in this area. I have been here since 2012, since the building was first built, and the last 2 years have been absolutely amazing in terms of the vibrancy of this area. We're comprised of 3 counties, Martin, Davies, and Greene County. So all of those put into a tech park, and like I said, the vibrancy here has just been amazing. All the buildings are full. Every place within this academy, Westgate Academy, is full with lease spaces. U.S. Navy, for the first time, actually has people off base in this facility. So everything that ROI is doing right now, that Ivy Tech is doing right now, is absolutely perfect timing for all this to happen. So I am happy that Kim and I were able to have this conversation about how do we get the employers here more involved, how do we get the people, the students more involved. I think high school students are fabulous resources. And I'll tell you one little story. I know you've been doing some CAD work. I live in Lagodi, and I was working at a building over there, and this was again in 2010, 2011 here in the tech park. The building was built, but it did not have the full blueprints that it was modified. I'm not quite sure what the right words were. I went to Lagodi High School, and there was 2 students that did CAD work there. They were in an intro to engineering class. And the owner of the building, I talked to him, we got them together. He provided any expenses that needed, but they actually put these blueprints together. The building, they had to do a presentation of this as well. They did the blueprints. They were fabulous blueprints. The person owned multiple buildings and wanted these 2 individuals in high school to continually do blueprints for his buildings that he was building. So I just thought it was amazing to utilize those types of resources. But these are the types of programs that we do here. We also have on the Westgate Academy website, if you go to it, there's a job board. So some of you may not be ready for that job board yet, but they are all of the jobs that are within the tech park here. All of the newer companies, Reliable is in there, Enhanced Semiconductors is in there, as well as SAIC and CACI. So feel free to go on that website and look at that job board. That is a very, very visual job board that people go to all the time and take a look at. So just look at it for future needs, kind of if you don't know what you're interested in yet, what type of engineering, look and see what's happening so that you can maybe go forward from that path. So again, thank you for coming. We'd love to host you here. ROI actually has sponsored some food outside here too. So from my perspective, please stick around and have some networking and talk to Robin and all these panelists. It's so great to actually see the physical people that are doing the work and getting into the system right now. So from my behalf, thank you.